Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to episode 6. When I tell you this episode is literally near and dear to my heart, I have a guest appearance from my oldest. When I tell you first of all, let me back it up. Today we have some great topics that we are going to get into, starting with I picked out 15 of, I feel like, the most difficult questions. Some of them were sent from you guys via Instagram. Some of them I thought of on my own, and I am going to be asking my team some of the 15 toughest questions that I feel like every parent should be asking their teen. I also wanted to mention that we had a really in-depth conversation this morning at the table, and let me tell you, there is something that as a parent, you instill all these things into your kids, but when you really get a chance to pick their brain and really get into some of the things that they're not only thinking but they're going through, these kids, and this kid especially, I would say I am overly impressed, and that is what prompted me to have him on the show today, because many times, especially as a parent coach, I find when I speak about the possibilities of actually having great relationships with your children, many times, believe it or not, I'm attacked in the sense of, I think that my children are better than other children. I think that my children don't go through things, or whatever the case is, especially when I say that having a strong foundation and a strong core relationship with your children makes it easier on the back end to discipline them. People, always jump to the assumption that my kids are perfect and they, don't do anything wrong, which, is furthest from the truth. As exactly, you're not perfect, and I don't put the pressure or expectation on them to be perfect. And I just want to make that clear, because so many times people think that I put a battery in my kids' back and they're little robots or mini me's walking around, when that is furthest from the truth. If anything, I live my life in accordance to the morals and values that I want to instill in my children. And there's a huge difference. And if you are watching this video, I really just wanted to start off there, because I'm in several parenting groups. I meet with parents, and again, not necessarily with my private clients or with the clients that I see within the workshop, because usually those communities of people come in with a different mindset. But I tend to find when I tell parents, or I suggest to parents, that their behaviors are what manifests in their children, it can be really offensive. And this week alone, I feel like I've been catching so much backlash. So this literally motivated me to include my child in this video. And again, not because I need to prove anything, but just as a way for parents to see that it is possible to have those relationships with your children. Am I my child's friend? I'm friendly. I can say we do have some kind of friendship or some kind of relationship, but at the same time, it is not my obligation as a parent to make my child happy. It is just not. Just like it's not my obligation as a wife to make my husband happy. And we'll get a little bit more in depth with that. I also wanted to say, hot topic today. A video was circulating with a mom who had a child that pretty much crashed a birthday party that was at a park, and then got a little, weirded out by the fact that the adult told her child that they could not have a piece of cake. And I have some opinions on this, and I'm sure we're gonna watch the video together, and we're gonna get some perspective on this in today's hot topic. I'm also going to talk about why I do not bribe my children. Do I believe in rewards? It depends, but I do not bribe my children, and we'll get into a little bit about that as well. This episode, trust me, it is going to be a longer episode, but well worth it. I definitely say tune in. And if you are not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. Go ahead, please don't subscribe. Okay, hit that subscribe button and go catch up on some of those last videos I dropped. I really appreciate your comments. Let's get into today's show. So we're going to jump right into it. Remember I said 15 of the toughest questions that you guys have sent me in relation to my parenting style, how I parent my kids, my story, all that good stuff. But before we jump into it, I would just give you guys who are probably new to my channel or new to following me a little bit about my backstory. Of course, if you've been following me, you already know this. So again, it's just to catch everyone up. I got pregnant with Zion in my senior year of high school. It was actually I know the exact day. It was Martin Luther King Day. I met his dad, who at the time was my high school sweetheart, like so in love, and you just plan all your future out together. Obviously, it did not work out that way. Shortly after I found out I was pregnant, me and his dad kind of went on a roller coaster, and shortly after that, we ended up breaking up. Fast forward, I was a single mom for, I'm going to say maybe the first 4 years of his life, 5 years, probably 4 or 5 years, no, 5, 6 years actually, and then that's when I met my husband, and here we are today. And of course, a lot of details are left out of that, but I also want to start off by saying I did not start my journey with positive discipline. Again, a little backstory just to kind of catch everybody up and bring everybody forward. I was a classroom teacher. So positive discipline was something I initially started within my classroom, okay? And I feel like I perfected that within the four walls of my classroom. However, when it came to parenting my own children, him and I had his younger sister at the time, I was struggling. Okay, I come from a strong Caribbean background where it is a do what I say. I am the parent. You don't question authority. And if you did question authority, you were being punished. And punish can be getting spankings. Punishment could be getting something taken away. Punishment could be grounded, whatever the case is. But those were, for me, my order. First was the yell, second, and I'm ranking them. First step was yell, second step.
There was no second step. It's just first you yell, then the second step you get whooped.
You get whooped. And this is just to be completely transparent. And I love to start here because, again, because of my end result, a lot of people see things polished and put together and they see the end, but they don't want to follow the story or follow the journey of what led you here, okay? And I'm going to tell the story that I always tell, and you tell me if you remember this day, okay? I remember it was one morning, you know, the usual yelling, screaming in the morning, you're rushing, you're trying to hurry up and get everybody ready for school, and him and his sister at the time, you know, they're taking forever, they're playing, they're laughing, they're giggling, they're doing all these things. And at the time, again, I was a teacher, so that means they were going to school with me. And for those of you in education, you know, and if you don't know, teachers usually have to be there, obviously, before the children, well before the children, sometimes an hour before the children arrive at school. So I'm rushing in the morning, I'm upset, I'm doing the usual yelling and screaming, why are you never ready? Every time I'm always late, and we're going through it. And I didn't hear them for a second, and I got extremely upset at this point. And you're going up there with the intentions to whack them up. And I go, and both of them are sitting on their bed. This time they share the room, and they're both crying. And the crying literally annoyed me because I'm like, I'm going to be late for work. I don't have time to deal with this emotional breakdown. That's what I'm thinking at the time. And I'm like, what is the problem? What are you guys crying for now? And him at the time, he was, I think, first, second grade. He says, "Why are you always yelling? You're always yelling. Always, every time you talk to us, you're always yelling." And up until that moment, I kid you not, do you remember that?
I think I remember you saying that, but I don't remember like
The actual scenario. No, trust me, it stood out to me because in that moment, it felt like a dagger to my heart. Reason being, I've always been a highly effective teacher. And again, if you're not in the education world, that means on your evaluations, you are ranked very highly. So much so that I even got Teacher of the Year, constantly being rewarded for how great I was with my students. And in that moment, I felt very low. I felt like a fraud. I felt almost just kind of like, how is it that in a classroom of 25 strangers, I'm able to compose myself, give them patience, give them time, give them grace, but with my own children, I struggle with that. And for me, that was a very pivotal moment. I don't hit, punish, pop, whatever you want to call it, the students in my classroom, but for some reason that cognitive dissonance allows me to do it at home with my own children. And that light bulb went off instantly. And again, I was already certified in positive discipline for educators, and that is where my journey for positive discipline within my own home kind of unlocked, and that light bulb went off. So I always like to start with that story because, again, when I say that change is possible, it's not because I read some books or got some degrees. It's because everything that I'm saying and everything that I practice and everything that my company is built off of are literal life experiences that are things that I've not only went through, but I am continually going through and continuously practicing within my own home. I know in this world of social media, it is so easy to be fooled by smoke and mirrors, but I'm telling you, I am not somebody who is going to lead anybody to anywhere I have not been or came from, only because I believe in Jesus Christ and I know that the words that are coming out of my mouth, I am responsible for how they land. I am responsible for the things that I put out there. And I do not disconnect from my morals and values through my content and what I do and how I live my life. Because believe it or not, your kids find you out. They know if you're a fraud or not. And again, it is important for me as a parent to make sure I am the best role model. I don't leave that out to chance for the world to be their best role model. Okay, and I know that was heavy and I came out strong, but I just wanted to start right there. So let me give my son a chance to just say a little bit about himself, whatever you're comfortable saying. I don't want you to feel like you have to say too much or whatever the case is. Just tell me your name, and if you are comfortable sharing your name.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable saying your name, you don't have to say that. But your age and maybe like 2 cool things about you. Let's start there.
All right. My name is Zion Mattis. I play. My age is 13. I play soccer and I'm really good decently good at skating.
Skating is a new hobby that we all actually kind of picked up as a family, which I do say we getting it.
So let's show them a clip, maybe.
Right, that's what I said. I started recording some clips and started doing some of that stuff. But let's go into the first question. And remember, these are some tough questions, and I want to set the base point. There's nothing, I always tell you, there's nothing that you can say that's going to make me feel bad. There's nothing that you're going to say that is going to give me a shock factor. I want you to just be as transparent as you can, as open as you can. I always set because when we do family meetings, I always set the tone that anything that is being said is not taken outside of the moment it's being said in. That's number 1 in our family meetings. And number 2, I always say transparency is the best. So even if he says something that I do not like or something that hurts my feelings, it is okay for me to take it in process without feeling defensive. And I know sometimes that can also be difficult, but That's you. That is the baseline. He knows this, but I'm just saying it on camera here because, again, sometimes it's the back end questions of, oh, how I know he's not lying, or how I know he's not going to hold back because she's going to punish him for something he says. I'm letting you know that even as we go through these questions, you will see that a lot of these things we have talked about before in previous times, but part of building a relationship is being able to have those tough conversations. If your child cannot come to you and say, hey, I felt this type of way about something that you did, or something made me feel some way, or when you said this, it made me feel some type of way, without you being offended, again, understand how that can impact your relationship in the long run. Kind of just like if you were in a romantic relationship and if your spouse cannot have those difficult questions with you, chances are the depth of your relationship won't withstand the test of time. All right, ready? Listen, I have to lay you guys are probably wondering like, dang, why don't you just start the interview already? My thing is this, I realize with the internet that a lot of people are so committed to misunderstanding or finding the things that are not there. So I like to be extremely clear, extremely concise. And I know people will still get it wrong, but let me just lay the baseline. You understand what I'm trying to say? All right. Ready for question number one?
Yes.
Question number one. How would you describe my parenting style?
I think you're like a mix of like a free roam. If that makes sense, like a free roam, like how I say this, like free roam, like a free roam parent. That's exactly how I say it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you make us make our own decisions, right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You set your boundaries straight, so we know what boundary not to break and what boundary, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then that's just it. Like it's a chill parent. Like it's a chill.
Which, contrary to my type A personality, people assume that I am super controlling. Where I tell people all the time, real love is not control. If you truly love somebody, you cannot control them. And I know every time you mention Jesus or you mention the Bible, people be in the comments ready to tussle. But I always think of my relationship with my kids like my relationship with God, or the relationship God has with me. He has the ability to control us, just like I have the ability to control my children. But how is that true love? True love is allowing somebody to make their own choices, to love you because that's what they want to do, not because it's out of force or obligation. So you're right. And if you go back to positive discipline, the core principles behind that is being kind and firm. Again, kind, I'm empathetic, I'm loving, I validate your emotions, all that good stuff. But firm, meaning you still have to respect boundaries.
That's exactly what I mean.
You literally have to, it has to be mutual respect.
Yes, you get to do what you want to do. Like, not like that, but like there is certain stuff that you're not allowed to do that you should not.
Correct. Kind and firm. Okay? All right? How would you describe my personality? I'm interested to hear what they're going to say because I've heard this before.
I have a simple. It depends on the day.
Now, because you know me for sure, you know this to be true. Go ahead.
If it's raining, you'll be in a chill mood. You know, if it's sunny like how it is outside, you'll be like, let's go to the park, or like, you know, let's go to Sparkle or something like that. If you're like one of those like I just did my hair move, it's just like, you know, watch a movie. It depends like how the day is.
Listen, and he ain't lying. And if y'all know,
if you woke up on the wrong side, you could wake up on breakfast and just be in your little mood.
Choose violence.
It just really depends on the day, really.
And they ain't lying. They are not lying. All right, now we're going to take the question up a notch. All right, Ron. How you do it? I can't even, he does this clicking thing, which I think is so hilarious. I've been trying to master it. Still can't get it. You do it. Take it up a notch. And the question is, what is something you wished and this is one that came from Instagram. What is something you wish I did different as your mom? Something I did differently as your mom.
Something you did different. It's really nothing. I don't.
We can come back to it.
Yeah.
If you can't think of it off the top of your head, that's cool. I'm gonna just highlight this one, and then we can come. All right, we'll come back to this one. All right, here's another one. When do you feel a teen steps over into adulthood? Like, when do you think a teen becomes an adult?
When they can start paying their own bills.
So a teen becomes an adult.
I think when they move on to college, that's a good option. When they move on to like college, they take that another step in life, that other step two in life journey.
Okay, so they got to be paying their own bills and pretty much what, not living.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're still living under your parents' roof, it's not really an adult yet.
Okay.
You know, you have not your own car, because you don't have to have your own car, but like, you know, own car, you know. It's like you're kind of taking care of your own self. That's what I say.
I was just about to say. So if I heard correctly, to be an adult, you pretty much need to be taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it from the teens, not themselves. So if these teens are telling you that they're grown, the easiest response is
take care of yourself.
Like I said, this is from the words of a teenager himself. Here's another one. What have you learned in life that you feel would be the most useful?
Cooking. I feel like that would be the most, like, in the long run. And just like the quotes that you tell to me, because I remember, I can't wait when I have children to get to tell the quotes that you tell me.
This is not on my list, but let me hear, what's your favorite quote that I tell you that you can't wait to tell your children?
There's so much. Pick one. Don't write a check that you can't catch.
Yo! I told y'all, this is not edited. This is not prompted. Of everything I told this boy, he said, let me repeat. I don't cuss on this channel, but I'm going to say it so you really get the full flavor. Do not write a check with your mouth that your ass cannot cash, okay? I'm giggling because I say this all the time. We live in a world where people just think, and I'm assuming, you know, we blame social media for everything. So I'm going to give social media another bad name and say, because of social media, we think that we can just say whatever the hell we want to say, and people are supposed to react all civilly because everybody is being a grown-up. No. You will encounter people that are not mature enough to be the bigger person. Did you just burp? You're going to encounter people that are not going to be the bigger people. So you better be careful when you out there flapping them lips, that if somebody decides to not be the bigger person and they decide to defend what you said, you're ready for that. Okay? Because not every time people are going to be the bigger person. And listen, good one. But to go back to cooking, listen, I know too many adults, no shade, that cannot even boil water, okay? So again, it is so important for me as a young man that he learns how to cook, because not only, again, is that a life skill or a gender neutral skill, whatever the case is, but think about how valuable he can be to his wife, his future wife, that he can cook. That burden is not solely going to be on her. He can help when it comes to moving around in the kitchen. So I like that one, that you mentioned that one. All right. I don't even know what number question we're on, but the next question goes, if you could change anything in the world, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a tough.
That's a deep one. That's a deep one. What do you feel like? Yeah.
common sense. I feel if everybody in the world had this common sense, the world would go amazingly.
I'm gonna just sip my tea on that one.
If
Because y'all gonna say I put a battery in his back to say that one. Because y'all know how I feel about that.
If everybody had common sense, this world would not be the state that it has right now. That's all I'm putting.
Again, we are talking from the perspective of a 13-year-old. And I understand common sense may not be so common, because if then everybody would have it, or what I think is common may not be common to you.
Mm-hmm.
But in all fairness, when we use common sense, I just feel like the basic entry point of being a decent person.
Mm-hmm.
You drop something, pick it up. You do something, you say sorry. Like just little things that I feel like go over people's head these days, and you are not wrong, child. All right. What is the worst thing that's happened to you, and what lesson did you learn from that?
Disney.
Yo, everybody has a Disney story, and I'm gonna let you tell this one. Go ahead.
So we went to Disney, like everybody in the family. We went to Disney. I had the blast. We had the best time ever. Mom really bought us anything that we had. She bought us $10 bottled waters. I saw this kid with the boat machine. I was like, oh, that looks so cool. I'm 6, so I was 6 at the time. So I was like, oh, can I get this, Mom? Please, please, please. And she was looked at the price. She said $50. No. And at the time, I was like, $50 is not that much. I'm like, Mom, please give me it, please, now. And she was like, oh, okay. And she's like, oh, okay. You want to be mean? After all the time that we had, they're about to like do like the fireworks, and Cinderella and Elsa want to come off the balcony thing. And she was like, okay, we're all gonna. Since you want to act rude, we're gonna go back on the ferry. We're going back. And she actually meant it. We actually went back on the ferry, and we went back to like. The parking lot to drive back.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm like, oh, wow, dang. So what I learned from that was like, how I say this? What I learned from that is like, let's say this. I have a brain fart.
It's okay. That's okay. You can take a second.
What I learned from that was, if you're having a good time, why let one thing that you didn't get ruin the whole thing? Mm-hmm. Just enjoy the moment. That's me.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you said that, because, again, that Disney thing was interesting. Anybody who's taken their children to Disney, you already know it's about $1,000 out the gate just to get in, right? And for some people, that may not be a lot of money. But for me at the time, it was a lot of money, as in I had to save a lot just to get us through the door. And just like he said, throughout, you're making sure that you want them to have the experience. You're doing the airs, you're doing the T-shirts, you're doing the cotton candy, and you're doing the candy apples, and you're doing the snacks and the treats and everything, to enhance the experience. Now we get to the end where it's a $50 blow toy, where again, if you have children, you know those things. Once they run out of bubbles, the battery dies, it breaks, the lights don't work by the time you get to the car. So me, putting another $50 just felt like, I can't afford this. Yeah. Now, in hindsight, looking back, could I have handled that differently? Of course I could have. Looking back, I could have just said no. He would have cried, tantrumed, and whatever. And I think the most triggering part of that encounter was the tantrum that followed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily, oh, he can't have the toy. It was the tantrum, like throw himself on the floor type of tantrum. And I was just like, oh, hell no. That definitely triggered me. But another thing I wanted to mention is I am not the type of parent that is going to give false promises or false threats. Mm-hmm. If I say something, I am following through. And that is another ground, I guess, building block when it comes to my parenting style. I don't do empty threats, because even as a classroom teacher, I realize when you are saying things and you're not following through on them, kids are very good at realizing like, oh, she's just saying that. She ain't going to do it. Or, man, she's just upset. I know in 10 seconds she going to budge. I've always been very committed to making sure if I say we're leaving, if you do this, no, if you do this, we're leaving. I don't care how inconvenient or sad or mad or whatever the case is, you are going to be or I'm going to be, we're all going to be inconvenienced because what I say is what I mean. And I am the same way in my friendships, relationships, and across the board. That is just my relationship. That's just my personality. If I say something, it's because I mean it. Mm-hmm. All right? Good one, though. Next one is I want to skip down to another question. What do you feel are the most important things to living a good life?
I feel like you need decent like etiquette, like manners, just decent like knowledge, just like, a good education.
Mm-hmm. So you said good education, good manners.
Mm-hmm. I think like traits or like surrounding,
just anything. It can be broad.
Like you need like a good partner, just like someone just to help you support. It could be a best friend, partner, whatever. Just someone to help you mentally,
mm-hmm.
support you.
I'm writing this down because I wanted to make a point.
Obviously, you need some type of job or money, a hobby, and just like, and I guess just that's it pretty much. Just
I wish you guys knew how listening to my child is literally, I don't even want to make this something that I cry through because I am so like filled with joy. Reason being, I want you to ask your kid this, and I know I'm all over the place, but I want you to ask your child that exact question. What do you feel are the most important things to living a great life? And I go back to saying that, ask your child, because in society today, if you ask adults, the first thing they probably will say out of their mouth is money. You know what I was going to say.
How good is money if you don't have somebody to like experience it with?
And when I tell you guys that I don't prompt my children, these are the things that I mean, like through how I live my life. It is refreshing to see the product or the fruits of all the criticism and backlash that you get from other people when it comes to how you want to raise your children. I hope, if nothing, that this continues to inspire you guys that you can take control of how you parent your children. Yes, there will be outside factors that mold or shape them or influence them, but I'm telling you, if that home foundation is strong, you will not be building a house on quicksand, and that is a guarantee. And just the way my child talks, I know that should be true. Okay? Manners, education, partnership, money, and a hobby. To me, that is so powerful to say because, again, not that money is not important, but that comes after the fact because you need money to survive, and that's logical, right? Education, yeah, because you notice how he didn't say college, he didn't say degree, he didn't say anything. You need some form of knowledge because that's another thing. Even though I hold my master's, my kids know that degrees mean nothing if you do not have basic knowledge and understanding. Okay? Manners. That's the first thing I tell my kids. I don't care who you become. I don't care what job you have. Your first priority in life is to be a decent person. You don't go out into the world being a menace to people, being mean to people, being nasty to people, just being a disgusting person. Absolutely not. How you speak to people, how you represent yourself is a reflection of not only you, but the family that you came from. And I know we disconnected from that, but those are the true values that I find to be true. Okay? have manners. People never remember your title or whatever the case you were. They do remember, though, the words that came out of your mouth, how you made them feel, what you said. Are you a decent human being? Companionship. To me, that is so important. I've seen many parents that prioritize motherhood, parenthood over their relationships with their spouse. At the end of the day, it is still important that your children see a healthy relationship. Does that make sense? My son will struggle to love a woman correctly, be in a relationship with a woman correctly, if he has not had a model of what that looked like. Mm-hmm. Not saying that it's not possible for him, because it's very much possible, but how easier is it when you have a model of what that looks like? Mm-hmm. I didn't have a model of what a mother and father looks like. So it took me a long time, through trial and error and failed relationships and to have that example. And here we go for the people who said, I had a mom and dad who were married for 25 years, 30 years, and I still don't know what a good relationship looks like. Okay, Betty, I'm sorry. We're not talking to you. Yeah. Listen, that's where I'm at with the conversation. If it don't apply, let it fly, then this ain't for you. But for everybody else.
Don't take criticism.
Say it again.
You have to take criticism. You can't just...
Child.
Be stubborn. You gotta let go.
At some point. But we just have to always include those people, because there's always somebody. My parents were together for 40 years and I still don't know what a positive relationship looks like. Okay. And having a hobby. Real quick before I move on to the next question. That is so important to live a healthy life, because how many adults you know that are literally on the wheel of work, come home, pay bills. Work, come home, pay bills. And you've never seen them enjoy themselves. You've never seen them do anything that was fulfilling. You've never seen them do anything that was... And that was me for a very long time. And if you are a parent and you are stuck in that bubble right now, just know, honestly, it is going to happen. As your kids get older, it frees up a lot more of your time. Was this having a hobby? Like I told you, we just started learning to skate. Mm-hmm. And that was something I said I wanted to learn how to do, because I don't have a hobby. My hobby for a long time was taking care of my children. And that is just realistically what it was. So I don't want you to say, oh, damn, I don't have a hobby, blah, 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 blah. No, understand that we're talking long term, over the lifespan of you raising your children. At some point, you need to find something that you love to do, that your kids can watch you learn, do, fail at, become good at, and whatever the case is, whether it's dance lessons, singing lessons. I went to my first country concert by myself. They watched me step into the arena of finding things that bring me joy outside of motherhood and marriage.
And it's amazing because you pretty much taking care of me, Deja. Literally your whole team life. You didn't get to enjoy to have fun. So now that you have the time to enjoy have fun, it's good. I like it.
And I'm so glad you said that, because so many mothers, and like I said, I can only speak as a mother because I'm not a man, right? But so many mothers feel guilt. And I know that's a big thing, feeling guilt about liking something outside of motherhood, or feeling guilt that if I step away from my children, something will happen to them, or they won't be in my best care, or like you said, you just probably just can't afford it in this season of your life. And I just want you to know, release that guilt, because coming from your child's mouth, they don't feel bad when you go out to enjoy yourself. If anything, they feel good, because they see how much of your time is dedicated to them, that it feels good to watch you enjoy something, if that makes sense. So I hope just by hearing a child saying that, it frees you from the thinking of feeling like I have to feel guilty if I do something aside from take care of my children or do their activities or whatever the case is. Free yourself of that guilt. And I say that's something I'm in the season currently of still doing, because I do feel bad if I have something to do on your games or things like that. And
I mean, not like I don't care if you don't come, but you've been to all my games. I was a little kid, so it's
Since the time he was 3.
You can sit this one out.
And that's the thing, feeling obligated. I am morally obligated to be there every time. Where it's like, you've been doing this since the time I was 3. I'm 13 now. In 10 years, I think it's okay if you miss a game.
You can sit this one out. It's okay.
And let me tell you something. Hearing that from my kid's mouth definitely put my shoulders down, because you do carry around mom guilt, and moms, we know this to be true. All right. Ooh, this is a good one. This is another deep one. What's had the greatest impact on your life, good or bad, and why?
I think when you met Dwayne, that was a good impact.
Dwayne is my husband, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And why do you say that?
Because I felt like he changed it in a better way. It changed the lifestyle of the family in a better way.
Why do you say that?
He brought that, I guess, like, joy. Joy into, like, you know? And, like, it just felt good, like, having, like, a dad, you know? That's right there.
Guys, woo! I'm taking that in, and I am really going to be intentional about the next couple things that I say. If you are a single mother, I really want you to understand what my child just said. Meeting my husband was one of the greatest impacts that he has had on his life. Understand that being a single mom is probably one of the hardest things I have ever done in my life, because I never imagined myself to have to raise children by myself, okay? I always thought it would be something within a unit. And when that does not work out, the amount of self-blame, the amount of hurt that you carry around sometimes makes you feel like I failed my children. Especially when I would watch other families, you know, enjoy themselves or do family things or whatever the case is. I always saw myself having like the picture perfect TV family. So when that was not my reality, it did hit me hard. And as much as I tried to provide everything that I possibly could, I knew that no matter what, there was still this empty void. Now, whether we choose to acknowledge that or not, or even if you convince yourself that you don't care, or if you convince yourself that it doesn't matter, I want you to know that it does. God did not ordain us to raise children, and I say us as women, to raise children by ourselves. There's nothing in life that you can do excellent and great by yourself. Because if you go back to the question before this, where he mentioned partnership, having a partner, and I mean a partner, because I'm not going to go into the dynamics of bad dads. I'm not going to go into the dynamics of horrible husbands. Not entering the conversation that way. I'm talking about healthy relationships, okay? It is the missing factor. Because as a young man, there are things that as a woman I can never teach him, because I am not a man. So he needs that male there to be able to do that. Now, again, I'm not going to go into the conversation of, well, there are single mothers that raise excellent sons. You're right. There are. But again, that is not something that I say is aspirational. I didn't aspire to be a single mom raising a strong son by myself. Absolutely not. Because when I'm tired, it feels amazing to have a partner that I know that I can lean on. To record this video, these kids are on summer break. There'd be 2 kids behind me doing backflips, okay? How am I able to do this? Because I have a supportive husband who is able to step in and allow me time to do this. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Having a husband that is able to support our family so I can pursue my business, can support my dreams. And again, every situation is different. So I'm not speaking for a blanket for every situation, but I do say having a strong male and a strong female does produce good children. And I'm not going to go into the dynamic of male and males and females because that is not my lane, and I stay in mine. but that really did. I'm gonna shed a tear right there. Okay, this is a good one because I know we talk about this one all the time, and this was another question that came through Instagram. If we experience our greatest moments of growth and learning from failure, why are we so afraid to fail?
Because in the moment when you feel like you can't do it.
And what do you do in those moments?
Give up. In those moments you feel like you want to just give up and it's over. But if you sit down and take a moment to just think about the situation, how you feel, you can learn from that mistake and build a better character.
Guys, I'm not even gonna lie, editing this video is probably going to send me over the moon because I'm not even gonna lie. Zion is the place where the disciples went to go pray. Zion means victory. I tell him every day it is a strong, powerful name. Zion is a leader. Zion is an influencer. He causes change. He brings forth change. He is strong. And these are things that I've said to him before he was able to even comprehend what I was saying to him. And to speak life into your child, sometimes I sit back and I listen to him and I can't even be more proud, if that makes sense. Again, I don't put the pressure of perfection because these kids do things sometimes where I'm just like, what the hell? But again, when I see their overall mindset, I know that my work and my prayers are not in vain. Next question. This is another one where I think it was a funny question, but I included it anyway. Do you know anyone who you would say has an ideal marriage or relationship?
Ideal, like a healthy relationship?
Mm-hmm. Like one that, like we say, couple goals. In teen terms, you only couple goals? You don't know any couples? Okay. Now I was the question was, do you know anyone that you would say has couple goals or relationship goals?
No.
What about me?
Actually, I thought it was other people.
I'm just joking. If you don't think it's me, that's okay. I'm just saying.
I thought it was like other people, like besides like you knowing. I thought it was like other people.
Why? Because I ain't no celebrity. I ain't no Jada Waiter. That's why.
No, I just thought like because it said like other people that you know.
No. So, do you think me and Dwayne are a couple goals?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because you guys make mistakes and you guys learn from those mistakes. I think that's what a goal is. You set something that you want to reach and reach it, and you guys did. So,
what do you think we set to reach?
Having a decent home.
Mm-hmm.
Decent home.
Mm-hmm.
Having a car, a good car. Have a car.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple stuff like that.
Wow.
Simple stuff.
What do you think about our relationship dynamic, though?
What do you mean by dynamic?
Like how we are in a relationship.
Oh, you guys are really a goofy relationship. So, like a goofy, funny. Yeah, a goofy, funny relationship.
And I don't define myself as goofy, by the way.
No, but like in a, what I mean by goofy, like in a jokey kind of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But like a strong one.
Do you think we fight a lot or argue a lot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not argue a lot, but you guys argue sometimes, but you guys can't think the same way. You guys have different opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Say that last sentence you said again.
You guys have different opinions, but there's nothing wrong with that.
I really want to.
You guys can't agree on everything.
I want to learn some camera tricks on how to zoom up to somebody's face and slow it down so the rest of America can hear that it is okay to not agree on everything, but still be able to have a good relationship. We cannot all think the same. Yo, I think I'm gonna start adding this boy to my co-host, because if you notice throughout this interview, my child has been dropping gems. And if you don't got your notebook and your pen, I suggest you pause the video and go get that right now, because my son is dropping gems for free. And if I was you, I would pick it up and catch it, because the next time I'm gonna tell him to put it in a package and sell it to you. Because at this point, he's dropping gems. Listen, all right, here goes another one where I'm like, I am prepared to hear the answer, but I'm a little nervous too. Do you think we treat you and your siblings fairly?
Yes. Yes. How can you say how?
Yeah, I was gonna say how, or why do you think that, or whatever the case is, like follow up.
It's okay, so you have clothes. All have the same line of clothes, same line of brand, because it's the same line of clothes. Secondly, you treat us the same way how the others people treated. You treat us how our age is. If you're 5, you're not gonna be treated like a 13. Like that's that. You get treated by your age.
Mm-hmm.
Third, you put the same amount of stuff in our hobbies. And Deja's like what, 1,000, mine's 1,000, so same. Not like
definitely more than 1,000.
It's not like Deja. You put Deja in like some reg gymnastics and you put in the most high gymnastics. It's the same, not the same thing, but same split. You always try to find the way to find both of how we both feel, not just take one side. So say if Deja's sad, but I'm sad, you're gonna find both our feelings instead of going on my side and not going to Deja's.
And that is another thing where I tell parents, you don't realize sometimes, sibling rivalry. That is another big topic and I'm going to do that in another segment specifically about sibling rivalry. But parents don't realize sometimes you feed that sibling rivalry with how you respond to different things. He made a great point. I'm never on anybody's side. I say y'all all get on my nerves equally, right?
Who's the favorite? None of y'all.
Listen, if I have to choose, I give them all back. I'm just joking. It's a joke I say with them, but I don't choose sides. If they're arguing, I always say, how about both of y'all be quiet? If they're fighting, both of y'all go to your rooms. How about that? Y'all can't figure out who has the book. Now the book is mine.
I used to hate that.
I'm not choosing sides. Because we know how it goes. The youngest is the cutest. The middle gets stuck somewhere in the middle, and then the oldest gets all the responsibility. I don't believe in that, okay? At 13, you have more responsibility because your age allows you to be able to take on a little bit more.
Exactly. You get treated by your age.
You're a little bit down on the rank, which is my middle. You may not have as much responsibility, but believe you are responsible for something. Mm-hmm. And for the little one, I don't care how cute you are, baby girl, you getting in line, because guess what? You're in training mode. You're the newbie to the family. And I need to make sure that I'm training you right from the bottom. So when you get to the middle, you're ready for that, the supervisor?
Yep.
So that way when you become in the big age, you're ready for the manager role. The day my daughter turned 5, I said, welcome to the big leagues, babe. You got real responsibilities now, and you got another chore on that chore chart. We have the chore chart, and I just, not to go off on tangents, but because we only have 3 more questions until we move into the next segment, but on that chore chart, she had one chart, which is pick up your toys, which I felt like as a small toddler, that is something you can manage. Picking up your toys, that is a basic thing that you can manage to do. But as she turned 5, I said, wait a minute, baby girl, now you can clean off the table, and you can even go wipe the table. And she takes so much pride on that because she realized that as you go up on the ranks, you get a little bit more privilege and you also get a little bit more responsibility. And that's just how, right, things work in my household. I don't believe in favorites. I don't believe in choosing one. No. All of you guys have shaped me and molded me into the person that I am right now. You guys all have 3 different personalities, which I adore and appreciate.
If it was a go to trip, like, or you have to choose one of your kids to go to trip, you're like, none of y'all going.
I'm gonna take a trip with my husband. Exactly. Have a good day.
That's exactly what she's like. I'm gonna go, but y'all not going. Like,
period. But I'm not. I don't pin my kids against each other. I don't say, oh, you're good in this, you're not good in this. You should be like this person. You should. No. I compare them to themselves. Each of them have strengths. Each of them have weaknesses, and each of them have different things that make them who they are. And I tell them all the time, if you guys were not my kids, I would still love you as people because you guys are dope people, and I just love who you guys are as people. So even take away the fact that I'm your mother, I would enjoy you as a person because who you are as a person, I think is amazing. So I'm glad you pointed that out because that is true. All right. Last 2 questions. What is something that you're looking forward to being an adult?
I don't know if I want to say this. I want to be able to drink. I want to have like my first drink.
Okay, and let me ask you, what is it about?
Being able to drive.
But not together. Drink and drive?
Oh, no.
You gotta, listen, I told you gotta be careful because these people be, let's separately, he wants to be able to drive and be able to drink, not combined.
No, definitely.
Just for the Betties in the back. You know, the Betties in the back become, he wants to be able to drink and drive. That's not what he said. You want to be able, okay, what about drinking appeals to you?
It doesn't appeal to me. Like, it's not like my top, not top priority, but like, I want to be like, just have like a little, without being obligated to be like, oh my, did you get that bad?
And I think what it is, our lifestyle as people, the camera doesn't show, but we have like a little mini, not even a mini, a nice bar here. And my husband is Puerto Rican, I'm Jamaican, and culturally, drinking is not something that's taboo. To have alcohol in your home is not taboo. To have kids' birthday parties that include alcohol is not taboo. Any function really with alcohol is not taboo. So alcohol and drinking is not something that they are not exposed to. So again, it's just the vibe of it, having the cute drink, having the friends over, the barbecue, the vibe of it. So I can see why you say that. And why driving?
So I can just go places where I want to go.
And I ain't gonna be mad at it because I'm tired of driving, okay? At this point, it is like my part-time job. So I am not mad at it, son. Tomorrow, what you gotta be, 15? Listen, here are the keys, bye. And I'm talking all that smack and then I'll do a video talking about why y'all is driving, I can't take it. I'm just playing. But, okay. And the last and final question. Do you think teens have it easier or harder than I had it when I was a child? Or
we have it way easier than you guys because how easy teens have it right now is ridiculous. Because how do I say this? You had that not struggle, but you guys didn't have like the social media and all of that to like, Well, this is a tough question because we kind of had it harder and easier at the same time, but you guys, it was just like harder. Like, I don't know. Because I feel like social media on like the teens today is like kind of bringing it down a notch. It's making it harder. But I feel like it's more easier to become more successful than it was back then. That's how I'm saying.
And I think you're also touching on the level of responsibility.
Okay, yeah.
That at your age, at 13, my level of responsibility that deemed me mature was a lot greater than some of the things that you feel like you're responsible for. I can definitely understand that. But to touch on the social media part, I know we talk about that all the time, the pressures of social media. We just had to know we were ugly, but by being ugly. You guys constantly reminded of, comparison, sometimes inadequacy, comparing yourself to other people. That's constantly being fed to you through social media. And I agree to that. And I'm going to wrap up this segment with that. And just to end this segment before we move on to our hot topic video, where we're going to do a little reaction to that clip. But you're right. You are so right. And I'm so glad that you felt comfortable opening up with a lot of these questions. Again, like I said, I know some of them we talk about other times, but you make me so proud. You make me so proud. Even when you're not accomplishing anything or you're not even doing anything special, just to sometimes just hear you speak and just hear your view on the world gives me hope that this next generation is going to be okay. I don't feed into the narrative that we're all doomed because what are you, Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Alpha, whichever generation
Gen Z.
Yeah, right? Whatever generation you are, I truly believe that there are still, you guys are not highlighted because, again, based on, and I don't want to get too crazy, but based on what society is saying, there are still good. There are still always good. And I am a true believer that good always overcomes evil every single time. So parents, it may be tough, it may be rough because they are constantly, remember, being influenced by outside. Outside is telling them what your parents saying is wrong, what your parents are trying to instill in you is incorrect. The world is trying to influence them. But parents, I'm telling you, the bond that you invest in when it comes to building a relationship with your child, it is ultimately going to be the thing that shines through. So yes, he is going to make mistakes. He may go off to college and experiment with things that I may clutch my pearls at. But I know at his roots and at his foundation that he has things that he can pull from. So even if he is at rock bottom, I am confident to know that he knows that he has somewhere he can turn to, that he can come to. And that is within my home with me and my husband. Whether it be, again, physically or just being able to reach out for guidance. And I thank you for that. All right, guys, we are moving in. Let's lighten the load. Let's lighten the load. We could dry our tears, pull it back a little bit. Let's get a little lighthearted. This segment of the show is our hot topics. And listen, I don't follow, but I do speak in every once in a while when I want something interesting to kiki at. And this video stood out to me. Before I play the video, let me set it up a little bit. So there is this lady who she was at the park with her child, and they, her child was playing with the other child, and they invited the two kids were playing. Sorry, I was trying to pull up the video. The two kids were playing, and her child goes over while they were cutting cake. And as they're cutting cake, I don't want to ruin it. Let's watch the video, guys.
And my own mother. But one other mom is going to be added to the list because actually, I'm not even, this is a question. Am I entitled or was this messed up? 2 hours ago, literally, right now, MK and I were at the park in my neighborhood and it was us and this birthday group, right? So, literally just us and this birthday group. These kids are having their birthday party. MK's playing with them for half an hour. They're making friends. It was nice. It was actually very cute. Time to sing happy birthday. MK goes over. She's one of the group right now, alright? They're welcoming her with open arms. Or so I thought. I was wrong. Time to eat cake. I see MK. I see her intention of grabbing a piece of cake. So I, walk over to make sure it's okay. As a formality, honestly, I was like, obviously it's okay. It's cake. It's a massive cake. There's lots of leftover pieces. The mother takes the plate away from MK and gets down to her level, says, "You cannot eat this cake, okay? This is not your birthday party. These are not your friends. Where's your mother?" Mom shame.
Guys. I'm laughing for two reasons, but I'm going to let you go first. Question. Was that mom wrong for telling her child, "No ma'am, you cannot have a piece of this cake because we don't know you"? What you I feel like I'm getting some brain connection over here, some brain waves, but tell me what you thinking. What are you thinking?
I think he was pushing it. You like she didn't even invite you. She just saw you playing. She's just like, all right, you can hang out a little bit, but no cake. It's like saying like we make some friends outside. They're playing. Dinner's ready. We're like, all right, you can come inside. You know, we're not. They try to like they look over for the food. They're like, wait, you're not having the food. No, I don't know you.
Okay, now, okay.
But I think she got
wait, stop. Just before you even go in that part, because you're jumping ahead. You jumping ahead now, son. Because I was literally just about to say, because you know me as your mom. What do you think I would have done in that situation? Honestly,
I think you gotta give me a little bit of cake.
because that's just who I am, and that's why I said I watched this video and you saw me laughing. I'm not laughing because of the situation. I'm laughing because that is an awkward position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have done enough birthday parties over the years, especially when we used to live in the apartment complex.
Oh yeah.
I would have a birthday party, okay? And before you know it, I look up and there are an additional 10 to 15 kids at my party. And I'm just like,
Who are you?
who are you? You know what I mean? Because it's an apartment complex and we're at the clubhouse. So naturally, kids are going to see a bounce house. They're going to see animals. They're going to see characters. And they're going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, maybe my background as a teacher would personally not allow me to say, you are not invited. Go away. There's even been instances where if I ordered, let's say, enough for 12 kids, I may have to order extra in the heat of the moment or cut something in half or something because I personally would feel bad for telling a child directly, give it back. And that's just my personality. However, as a parent, I don't put that expectation on someone else. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's, I know where you were going with it. Like, I don't put that expectation on them.
Yeah, if someone said, no, you can't have cake, well, it is their cake. You can't force them to give them cake, so.
And that doesn't make them a bad person. And then take it another step further. That does not make them a bad person for not giving it to you. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the biggest takeaway that I wanted to drive home when it came to that video. So many times we think that our kids are entitled to people's things just because we think it's the nice things to do. No. And that's where that mom went wrong. If I'm going to criticize that video, or if I'm going to offer any commentary on that video, whilst it would have been the nice thing to do, these people don't owe you or your child anything. If anything,
they want to choose a nice way sometimes.
And that's okay because
that's okay. If they don't, they're not entitled to give you the cake. If they don't want to give you the cake, they don't want to give you the cake. They just have to move on. That's it.
And that is another thing that we talk about all the time, like being okay with disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get a piece of cake. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't even know these people. So why do you feel so entitled to a piece of their cake because it's the nice thing to do? It's okay to walk away and say, well, I had fun meeting these people. I didn't get a piece of their cake. But that doesn't make them bad people. Mm-hmm. She did not have to share with you in that moment. And that's what I wanted to say about that point. Because again, me as a mom, I would have, especially if there's extra. I don't want to go home with this extra cake. There's extra. I'm going to give out all the treats, all the things, so we go home with none of it because this is a one-time opportunity and we don't eat that stuff at home on a regular. So I would have gave away the cake. However, I would not have called this woman selfish. I would have not said she was mean or criticized her for not giving my kid cake. And that is more of a take I wanted to put on.
The story.
Oops.
More of the story, she wasn't entitled to give her the cake, but it would have been not the nice thing to do. Well, it was the nice thing to do, but she was entitled to the cake.
Period.
Just be good with your have. That's it.
Period. And be okay with hearing no.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Be okay with hearing no. You're not entitled to have everything that you think you want, especially, again, you have no relationship with this person as to where they owe you anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing I feel like we have to get really comfortable with telling our children. You are not entitled to other people's things. You are not entitled for anybody to give you anything that you did not earn. And that is going to segue me into the next segment of why I don't bribe my children. And let's get into that. I know you guys heard me talk about our chore chart. I mention it all the time. We have one in our kitchen, which kind of talks about like the upstairs. And then we also have one in the bathroom, or their bathroom, I should say, the bathroom that he shares with his sister. Just to kind of give some, like, of what they need to do, like some insight of what they need to do.
It's not even like what we use, it's just a reminder.
I was about to say, just like a reminder. And people ask, let me, again, just set this up. People ask, like, do you pay your kids for chores? Do you bribe them to do things? And I just want to just...
We just do it ourselves. That's what I'm saying. We just do it ourselves.
And I want to ask, why do you do chores by yourself? And what makes you do your chores? Like, what is it that just makes you do them?
Why do you have to follow from behind us to do chores when you know you have to do it? That's how I say it. If you know you have to do it, just do it. Why does someone have to just run after you to do it? Especially when they put a reminder on it for you to. Why they have to like come run after you to come remind you?
And also to your point, remember I talked about my 4-year-old who just turned 5. Remember, they didn't just get chores when they turned 13,
mm-hmm.
or when they turned 11, or when they turned whatever. These are things that, again, from the time they were able to maybe walk around, he started walking at 9 months, my middle around 9-10 months, and then my last one around 9-10 months. My kids were early walkers. And even at that time, I would say, hey, go pick up your toy and bring it to the box. And they would waddle over, pick up the toy, bring it to the box. Now, at 1 year old, were they responsible for cleaning their room?
No.
No, you were not. And I know, again, people go to the extreme, but introducing responsibility and chores were something I started at the beginning. Remember, in Positive Discipline, we talk about taking time for training. So many parents skip over that, and their child now is a teenager, and they expect them to know how to do these things.
No. If they have never done it before, I can expect them to do it. If you have never slept, or like, you probably seen somebody sleep, but you don't know how to do it the right way, you can't expect them to know it if you never taught them.
And how much time have I taken to train you guys on how to do things?
What? Since 4. Even younger.
And I don't expect them to do it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The first time they washed dishes, I didn't want to eat those dishes. I want to go back and wash it again because they're still learning. But that doesn't stop me from teaching them the task, okay? I know he's gotten really good at cleaning the bathroom, but when they first cleaned the bathroom... Okay, when you first started cleaning the bathroom, tell them, because I don't want to jump ahead of the story. Go ahead.
There's still some, how do you say it? Mocha mocha.
We make up a lot of words around here, but correct. It was not done correctly. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean I go, oh, you guys are doing this right. Oh, never mind. Never forget it.
She taught us how to do it. She said, all right, now do it again. You're like, oh, okay. This is it. And then now the next time, you know what to do. Simple.
And that took several times. It didn't take 1 or 2 times of me telling them how to do it for them to learn how to do it. And again, their level and my level are 2 different things. I'm not comparing the bathroom clean when I do it to the bathroom clean when they do it. They know how to clean their bathroom. I am still responsible for that deep clean because I know as an adult my level of experience is greater. But that does not relinquish them, I hope that's the right word, from their responsibility of cleaning their bathroom. Same thing. When my 5-year-old wipes the table, I don't expect her to get every nook and cranny and know how to, because we have an extender table, go in between there and clean it down. I'm not expecting her to do that. But what I am expecting her to do is know how to wipe that cloth around the table. And as her skill level grows, so will the quality of her work.
Maturity and common sense.
Literally. You understand what I'm trying to say? So many times we put these high expectations on children without taking the time to actually properly train them, and then B, taking the time for their skill set to actually develop to be good at it.
That's exactly what I was about to say that.
Imagine your boss giving you training on day 1, do it on day 2, and then evaluations on day 3. That's not fair. And that's not an accurate depiction of, are you capable of doing the task? You need time to be able to develop those skills, okay? Yeah, but back to the point of bribes and rewards. Again, I have established routines. I have visual cues. If they get up from the table and say it's not wiped or swept or whatever their task is, I don't go in there arguing with them. Okay? Because if you think about it, if you forgot to do something, or if you just are relaxing and somebody comes into you moaning and groaning and yelling and screaming, are you within yourself now going, I'm motivated to go get this done? No. If think about even your spouse. If you're telling your spouse to do something and you're saying it in a way that's not very nice, you're not motivating them to go get up and do it. If anything, they are going to roll their eyes, give you back talk, and do all of that. So number 1, your approach absolutely matters. That's number 1. Number 2, these are rules and chores and things that we all agree to. I didn't sit here and come up with this list of things to do by myself.
Yep.
Who put that list together?
Us. Every month we switch. It's all good.
We literally sit here, like I talk about family meetings. We literally sit here and say, okay, these are the tasks that need to get done in the house that I feel like outside of my responsibility as a mom, I feel like everyone in this house can contribute. And we named the task. Then from there, we said, okay, what is an easier way? We found that doing it week by week was too hard to keep up with, especially because, like I said, my kids are very involved in sports. So trying to remember whose week it is became a lot harder.
Yes.
So we just do by month.
Mm-hmm.
And we even went a step further by realizing,
well, just if whoever can just do it, just do it.
That, and also working on people's strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just better at doing certain tasks than other tasks. And that was another thing I did not come up with. Mm-hmm. They actually came up with, instead of switching tasks based on month, which they sometimes do, they've gotten to a point of owning this to where they do it by strength. You know what? I've heard him and his sister even compromising and saying, you know what? I'm actually better at this. I know it's your month, but let me just do this because it's easier for me and I can get this done better. And you do that.
She's better at cleaning the car than me. I can clean the car, but she does it a way better strategy in a way. So I'm like, all right, let me just get the bathroom and the stairs. And she's like, all right, I got the dishes. And Genesis got the couch and the table.
And this is, and like I kid you not, these are things that they came up on their own with. Because again, they were not bringing out the topic done by bribes or rewards, okay? And again, this is just my take behind it. I like rewards that are not materialistic. You put that bribe before they actually complete the task, again, you're just setting them up to literally be performers, meaning they're only doing this because of this, or you find yourself only getting them to be able to do things when you're offering something at the front end, which prevents them from learning how to do things based on their own capabilities. And I forget, I'm trying to look, I'm fishing for the term, but you don't want them to be extrinsic, I think that's the word, but you want them to have internal motivation. You don't want them to always be motivated by some other outside force.
I do believe in rewards, though. If you see that they're doing their chores without being asked, and a month fly by, and they're like, oh wow, you did this already, let me reward you with something. See, that's not bribery. That,
and another thing also with rewards,
that's teaching them hard work pays off.
Correct. Even with rewards, I always reward my kids for things that are outside of their scope of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So they have chores that they are responsible for, but let's
go
say
above and beyond of the
correct. That's where the reward comes in for sure. And I'm glad that you made that point because, for example, when he babysits, he's 13 now. So when we go on day dates or, we run errands and we don't pack up the car with all three of them and he has to babysit for a couple hours, he does get paid for that because that is not inside his scope of the things that he's responsible for. Again, or if he, does things that, like errands for my husband or things like that, they are rewarded for those things. The other day, the girls cleaned out my closet. Now that it's summer, they went downstairs, cleaned out all my summer stuff, brought them upstairs to my upstairs closet, and then took all the winter stuff from my upstairs closet and bring it down to the basement. You know what I mean? Just to swap out seasons. That was not within their scope, but they were rewarded, and their rewarded they requested was ice cream, and they got ice cream for doing that task again because it was something outside of their scope of responsibility. So that was a good point because I know people are gonna be like, but when you work, you get paid, and again the conversation goes left. But good that you recognize that again, and I also wanted to say, don't get me wrong, bribes do work in the moment. So if you have a toddler and you're just like, hey, I'll give you this ice cream if you go to your car seat, or I'll give you this if you stop crying. Yes, it works in the moment, but remember, when it comes to positive discipline, you're not thinking about the moment. You're thinking, who am I trying to raise this child to be in the long run? And if you start young with saying, if you do this, I will give you this, I guarantee you, your child will become an age to where they are now grown adults or older teenagers, where in order to get them to do anything, you're constantly going to have to be giving them something in exchange for it. So again, I personally just feel like bribes are not feasible long term. And again, in the real world, you do not get rewards for every task that you complete. All right. Again,
I feel like you should be proud of yourself that you completed the reward instead of seeking for some recognition. You should just feel proud that you did something that you.
Y'all,
you should feel proud of something that you did that you feel proud of, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And that's why I'm saying, like, there's no way I could literally explain this interview any way better than like literally having the child here to literally just say it, because it's the truth. Parents think that when we grant our kids everything or do everything for them, it makes them feel good. Yes, in the moment it makes them feel good. But long term, your child, there is no greater feeling than having an obstacle, overcoming it, because you feel good, because you know you put hard work in order to do something, and it's going to make you feel proud. We can make that quick example of Genesis learning how to skate.
Yep.
She's my 5-year-old, by the way.
At the beginning, she was falling every 3 seconds. She couldn't even. So there's like a big circle in the middle for like the beginners, and like a other big circle like just for like if you want to like skate around like in the middle a couple times. And like there's there's a big circle. She was in like the middle circle because she didn't know how to do it. She how to say it? She just kept falling and she just didn't feel confident. But when you fall and make mistakes. And you learn from those mistakes and you build into this other character, which makes you more confident. And then she got confident and she went around. Now she knows. She still falls a couple times, but she now gets the base, and now she's not in like those circles. She's in the bigger circle now. So. And
it's amazing because if you see the pride that is on her face, that is the part where I feel like I could have said, oh, we're not going skating anymore, you keep falling, or no, baby, don't, you're going to get hurt, or whatever the case is. But just now seeing how proud she is when she puts on her skate, she's like, I can skate outside the ring now because I know how to do it. She feels good about herself. And those are the moments you don't want to rob your children of.
Going back to the other thing, mistakes, or like, what was the other thing? The question says, why do people get mad when they make mistakes? Because in the moment you feel frustrated, but when you take a time to like figure out like, oh, I made a mistake, and you learn from a mistake, you build into another character.
So when I tell you guys mistakes are perfect learning opportunities, please understand that I'm not just saying this because this is something I read in a positive discipline book. No, this is something I practice and I preach within my own life, within my life with my children, with my husband, with anybody that I come in contact with. If you are not failing at something, chances are it's because you're not trying it. I failed at so many things as to why I position myself as an expert to speak on certain things, because it's not something that I read in a book. It's not something that I got when I did my degree or anything like that. No, these are true life experiences that I had to fail through in order to get to the other side, to know that.
In order to be good at something, you have to fail to learn from that failure. That's how it is.
Guys, I'm taking in this interview, and let me just say that I'm so happy to have you as my guest today. I know I tell you all the time, but I'm going to tell you again. I am so proud of you. I love you so much, and you know there's nothing that you have to do to gain my love or earn my love or anything like that. I'm proud of you just for existing. You're an awesome kid, and even though a lot of these things I knew about you already, just listening to you say some of these things, it's amazing. And I know that whatever or whoever you do become in life, you are well on your way, kid. So proud of you guys. Not only you, but when I say you guys, my other two children as well. I'm just saying that, just so the camera's like, you guys, who else are you talking to? I mean, not only you, but your sisters as well. And on that note, guys, we are closing out this episode. I really hope that if you have a chance to play this episode with your teen, sit down, replay some of these questions with them, see some of their answers to these questions. And if you have any other questions that you would love to feature him or my other children on, drop them in the comments below, and maybe we could do a follow-up part 2 or include you every once in a while on some of these episodes. But again, to my point, I want you to know, parents, you are in control. You are in control of the child, the type of child that you raise up. Again, yes, there are outside influences. Yes, there are things that are genetic. We know that. But again, the amount of energy and time that you pour into your children, especially, like I said, when you do it from a point of love and making sure that everything you do, that connection, my pen keeps falling. That connection is the base of leading with love. I truly believe that your children will be able to know that at your core that you love them the most. And on that note, I am going to conclude this episode. Thank you so much. Make sure that you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and also make sure you subscribe to my channel because I do drop a video every Monday. Bye guys. See you in the next one.